It's got the beetroot on the go. What I'm going to use is some birch bark, a hazel pole I cut last year that is well dry, and some thistle heads, thistle seed heads, the fluffy thistle seed head. Now what I'm going to do with this pole is, I'll show you the tripod first. The tripod there I've had on the go for over a year, and the poles are made out of hazel, and they are well dried out, well seasoned, and they'll catch quickly. So I'm using something about that sort of size. You can use hazel poles as tripod stands, and that'll dry them out nicely for starting fires with. So I'm going to use another pole I got there about the same size as them, because I don't want to wreck up that tripod at the moment. So there's the length of my dry bag. So I'm going to cut this into lengths, about a handspan. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there we go. Five pieces of dry hazel. 5 pieces of dry hazel. Now what I'm going to do with these is, I'm going to stash them in the dry bag. But this is how I'm going to use them. If you've ever been in a situation where everything is wet and a fire is very hard to start, then you'll know why I'm doing this. Now this can give you the edge on starting a fire. This, I believe, could be the difference between starting a fire and not starting a fire in a difficult situation. And what I do with these is, split one in half, split one in half, split the next one into quarters, split the next one into eighths, split the next one into 16ths. Then get the next one and split it into 32s, or split it as small as you can to make as fine a kindling as you can. Then with some of that kindling, feather as much of it as you can, and maybe even feather one of these off the 16th ones, a couple of them. And so what you can do then is, starting with your feather sticks, then grading up through your sizes. To get your fire going. But to start them off, you're going to need something else. So the next two ingredients are thistle heads, thistle seeds, and birch bark. Now, first of all, I'll stash me 5 pieces of hazel down in my dry bag. Now, some of them might be a bit long, might need cutting down a bit, but you know, you get the idea. Then what I'm going to make here with the birch bark is, for those of the middle class amongst you, thistle and birch bark wraps. For the working class amongst you, thistle and birch bark kebabs. And for the Greek amongst you, thistle and birch bark souvlaki. Now, this inside, this really flaky stuff on the on birch bark catches really well. Now, to be able to start a fire in difficult circumstances, you need as much going for you as possible. Now, I believe this is a good natural way to have a lot going for you for starting a fire. And just remember, you need to have quite a bit of this stashed away, because in the winter you may be able to start a fire and keep it going for a few weeks or a few months if you've got enough resources, enough wood around you. But you're going to have to face the fact that that fire is going to go out, and you're going to have maybe 10 or 20 different times you're going to have to start a fire. And you have to have enough equipment, enough resources to start those fires when you're going to need them. Otherwise, you could end up dead. Alright, so as we know, birch bark contains oil that ignites and burns really well. It flares, it's great. An added way to get it is to get this fine stuff to catch the spark first, to ignite that, to ignite your feather sticks, to ignite your larger sticks. But another added bonus is the thistle head seeds. And so we make thistle head wraps. Now, the thistle head burns down really quick. You're only going to get 2 or 3 or 4 shots at it before it's disappeared. So you've got to make sure you're putting it where it's going to catch. Make some thistle head wraps. Now, when you come to use these, you can try them wrapped up if you like, but you can open them. Make sure you got it ready to go. Open them. Get your feather sticks ready on the top there, and get your other sticks ready to put on top of them to get it going. And then remember, you're going to have to get dry stuff as you can from the inside of wood you find around to then continue keeping it going. So, in my dry bag, I've got my 5 pieces of hazel, and then also in the dry bag, I'm going to put my thistle head and birch bark wraps. I've got enough here to make 2. As much as you can find at this time of the year. Make hay while the sun shines. Stash as much stuff as you can. And just for good measure, I'll whack the rest of that birch bark in the bag. So this is a Sea to Summit lightweight dry sack. Fold it over. I need to cut that down to the size of it, seal it down. There we go. And stash it away for a rainy day. Waterproof. It's ready to go. An emergency fire kit to give you that edge in fire starting. Without things like this, if you're not using say fire starters, fire lighters, trioxane bars, cotton wool, if the only things you've got are natural things, in wet weather you're not going to get anything started without something like this. If you've got the other stuff, use the other stuff, but if you haven't, make yourself some of these sets. If you haven't got a dry bag, then find some way of storing these things up dry. Okay. Okay, there we go. Beetroot's on the boil. Make some soup out of the carrots. And half Q. I hope you got your polytunnel covered today. And I hope you get your doorway pleats nice and neat. Okay, let's get a brew on as well, eh? There we go. That's it. Get that pot rocking and get a cup of tea going. Oh, that is just fantastic. Whoa. Okay, pat sack out.